What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and how you feeling? This is an interesting place for the moon to be. She's in Scorpio, and I think that even though this is where the moon finds her fall in, I do think that wherever, if there is a spot that you do happen to fall in, like a particular sort of emotion that tends to come up and just like, man, why do I keep repeating this thing? This could be a great time for the moon to be like, you know what? Yeah, why do I do this thing? Like, let's do some things to try to get out of this stuff. Like, what are some new habits that I can pick up in this so that this isn't always, or that if it happens, it's on my terms. We'll get into all that here in a moment. I like this energy here. But before we get into that, again, my name is Justin if you're new here. And and know that when you come across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. But this is also a place where if you happen to have Cancer in your placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, maybe Mars, wherever, this one's for you. Or if you just want to sync up with the moon, I mean, that we could all benefit from that. And I do tarot card spreads. Oh my goodness. Based on that lovely luminary, the good old moon. Man, I had to see that Leo full moon. I had to just like she was shining right through the window. I did a meditation under the moonlight. I just lied there for a minute because she's traveling in where the full moon was happening was in my ascendant. So I'm just like, you know what? Happened close to my Mars. So I was like, let me just drink in some of this energy. Let's just get lunar charged. It's lovely. I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, and when she's going. Boy, of course, it's all them lunar shenanigans. There's plenty of them. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Let's get into it. Because that was a lovely experience. If you don't get, it was kind of cold last night, so I wasn't outside and all that. Did see her on the way home, though. But that is definitely something I advise, Cancer or not, but especially if you got Cancer placements. Be under that moonlight. I was just spending some time just like really just looking at her, and there's something magical about the moon. There's it's just really just nothing like it. But and we're gonna really this is deep moon things today because I'm gonna shuffle for your general energy here. But depending on when you're watching this, Happy Moon Day! The moon is associated with Mondays, and I find with moon days, this is a great day for just checking in with yourself to see how you're feeling. What ways can you take care of yourself? Sometimes that's just as simple as just doing some chores around the house. Maybe something that you've been putting off, just do a little light sweeping or maybe do some vacuuming. And I just find even just getting started will help you get motivated to tackle some bigger things. Maybe there's a load of laundry, maybe there's a bathroom calling, just whatever that's looking like. I think that those can be some really great ways of working with through the feelings to moving through some stuff. Because then, when the outside's feeling nice, then we can kind of focus inward and kind of go in and like, okay, get back in sync. I think with the moon and how am I feeling? Do I feel better after this? How do I keep this better feelings going as opposed to just being like an ugh Monday? And pay attention to how you start off your moon days. I think that is something where you don't necessarily don't fake it. If you're feeling some type of way, honor that emotion. But how am I going to move through this? How am I going to? Because emotions do change. They fluctuate by the day, sometimes by the minute. Depends on what's going on. So these are very important to get eyes on these things. And another thing to get an eye on is one thing I like to do on these days as well is to look at where my moon sign's at. What's going on with my moon? What house is she in? What sign is she in? What aspects is she forming? She's got to form a, mine forms a trine with Saturn, which is it's not bad. It's I will say, it's not a bad one. When I put in the work, there's still work always with Saturn, but it is rewarding work. It does change the game up. So you have to see what your relationship and even I have an app that keeps track of what time the moon is going to be forming aspects with my different planets. So, but if you don't have something like that, or can't, if that seems a little too daunting, because the moon moves very fast. One way is to just get familiar with what sign she's at. So if you're, let's say like myself, I have a lot of Leo placements. So I watch out for Moon and Scorpios because that's not squaring all my Leo placements. Taurus is another one I look for. Aries is another one we like. Well, those two we keep eyes on, Scorpio and Taurus. But Aries is a smooth one. Sag is another smooth one. I love that. Even Libra. Libra's cool. Moon and Gem. Well, duh, my moon's in Gemini. So it's like, that's always great. But once you learn these different times, and then, I found there was a period where the moon in Geminis weren't feeling so great, but I had to get, there were some things I needed to get some eyes on. So there was some bigger stuff kind of happening in my chart at the time. So that could even be great insight. It's like, wait, this is normally a time where I feel pretty good. Like, what's off? What's going on? What shifted? Great insight for that type of stuff there. So just some things to think about. Now let's keep the lunar shenanigans going, because on the 17th of February, the moon is going to enter into Scorpio at about 4:19 p.m. and that'll be Pacific time. She's in a waning gibbous phase. We're reflecting the stuff after we still getting off that high from the full moon, but we're getting ready to get into the last quarter, which will happen in the next sign in Sagittarius. And I think that while the moon is in this waning gibbous phase in particular, it's just like, okay, I've made some changes in life, but there were some things that maybe there's some things like, let's say if you changed your, like, maybe eating habits. Maybe you started to cook your own meals, but we're needing to, in order to do that, we had to make more time, got to cut out the fast foods. And now we're thinking about the attachments that we had to let go. And I think that is just this time could be a reflecting on, okay, how's this thing been working? Is this transformation feeling done, or am I noticing any sort of like residual cravings, if that's an example? Or maybe you've been working out for a while and maybe we skipped a day and then you kind of beat yourself up, and then that leads to skipping another day and then skipping another day as opposed to just starting back up again. Like what's going on there? What are some things that we may still need to just kind of weigh out there? Because I think that ties in nicely with the moon in Scorpio. Because, like I was saying earlier, that's where the moon finds her fall. And when a planet finds itself in its fall, that's where it just maybe has more of a tendency for its lower expressions to come out. And then this instance, this is the moon. Instead of moving through the emotions and just allowing the flow to happen, she's getting maybe locked on in Scorpio, where one is like she's just like, it's clinging to something that's maybe even something that felt really pleasant along, but then maybe that's keeping you stuck. Or it could be something that, again, maybe bringing you down and it's keeping you stuck. But wherever that happens to happen, where the water's not flowing, this is the time to figure out how to nurture through these things, because it's going to keep happening. If you don't work through it or feel through it, you can't heal through it. So I find when the moon is in Scorpio, depending on, again, what's going on in your chart, because this could be a dope time for you with the moon in Scorpio. Maybe you got a lot of water placements and things are just moving. Things are just moving really nicely for you. So again, pay attention to that. But just in general, I think that we want to keep an eye on any sort of like any emotions that you feel locked on that are feeling really intense. And how do we, maybe if you notice you're feeling a lot of anger, maybe you need to go for a walk. Maybe that's something that helps break that up. Or maybe you need to take like a cold shower or like a lukewarm shower to kind of help cool that down a little bit. That's just some things that may come up there when I'm thinking about the moon in Scorpio. But I find when the moon and any planet that gets in its fall develops those tools to deal with that, then they really, that placement really thrives, because the moon is not useless in Scorpio. The moon has a deep intuition in Scorpio too. She's able to sense things, and again, that feeling things, that getting to the undercurrent, the root of certain emotions. You can almost even looking at that, there's something again real powerful there. But yeah, this is a really psychic time where you can maybe sense maybe even what you've been picking up, because maybe some of the things that you've been feeling have been coming from your environment. Maybe it's been from the things that you've been watching, whatever that's looking like. So that's another thing with the moon in Scorpio, about projections and things like that. That's another thing that I would keep an eye on as well. And if you wanted to work with these placements more personally, down in the description box you can email me. You can get a service set up there. I'm editing the description box right now. I'm getting that stuff all kind of set up there, so it'll include a list of like what my prices are, and so you can get a ballpark, and then you can email me with any kind of questions, and then we'll get you set up with the reading there. So definitely check that out if that's something that resonates with you. But let's go ahead and switch over. And last couple things here, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situation. And I'm going to ring this bell here to welcome in spirit and give them something nice to land with. So adjust your volume if you need to, but let's get into this thing. I find this bell too has been really nice for Moon and Scorpios. All right, let's get into this thing though. Interesting. All right, so you got the Page of Swords here. Now, the Page of Swords is an interesting one. I find this is where in the Thoth deck, the princesses or the pages are known as the earthy part of air. Or in this instance, she's the earthy part of air, being a princess, earth, air, swords. But one thing I like to think about with her is that her words can really land. Her stuff really manifests. And so I always really kind of tune into the mind when I think about the Page of Swords coming up there. Just like really kind of tune into separating like what you're feeling versus what you're thinking, getting curious as to why you may be feeling a certain type of way, why you've been thinking a certain type of way here, what are maybe some ideas that have may even been kind of put in your head, because there can be this sort of, I think when you have so many energies going on around you and how connected we all can be, there's this manipulation that can happen sometimes. And I think there's just a need to get an eyes on that here. But another thing with the Page of Swords is that need to get curious. There's a need for just some maybe some fresh mental energy too. When was the last time that you had like an idea, and I mean like where you wanted to try something out here, like maybe I want to create this thing today, or maybe I want to learn about this one other thing, where you kind of challenged your mind some. Be willing to kind of flex that mental muscle a little bit, especially if it's just been the same old type of things that have been going on in your day to day here. I do think too with the Page of Swords, there's a paying attention to the conversations and maybe just really listening to the nuances of things, paying attention to maybe how people are saying stuff, the body language. Very analytical type of detective work with combination of Scorpio and with this Page of Swords here. This can even be interesting. This page is given a lot. There could even be getting the answers to maybe some deeper questions that you may have about whatever that might be for you. We can take that how that resonates. But let's get some tarot on this and get some details. All right. So you got the Queen of Wands here. I am getting a bit of combativeness from the Queen. She can be aggressive. But she's got a lot of energy that she's working with. Like, I think there may be this need maybe for a competitive spark. That's interesting. Something that's needing to light the fire a bit. Because this Queen of Wands, that's interesting. She is a very powerful queen. And I think that there's something here about not wanting to be maybe just kind of comfortable with where you're at, just not really wanting to push on something, but it feels like maybe even there's this force. Something's like trying to spur up something here. I'm even getting with this, when we get with the court cards, I think think about maybe maybe there might be a page of swords around you. Maybe someone that you've been curious about who's been maybe sparking up something in you. Maybe that's interesting. So there could be some maybe even like romantic vibes, maybe even like a flirtatious type of energy. And it doesn't have to be anything serious, but maybe there's even a need even for some kind of play here with the words. I really enjoy the page of swords for that, for like really engaging conversations, really sort of like just the pleasures of banter. I think is something that's going on here too, because I think this Queen of Wands is, the word I'm getting is satiated. She's looking for something, like that's what she's wanting. There's a yearning here that she's needing, and I think that maybe that could even be getting misdirected here. Let's get a clarifier on that. Interesting. So you have the Ace of Swords here. And I think this Queen of Wands, I think she's got an idea. There's something that and that's all this is. The Ace of Swords is just an idea. It hasn't come to fruition yet. So I think there's even a need to kind of pause there and think about when you're getting ready to do something, or maybe when you're getting ready to say something. Is this a good idea? Is this gonna work? Is this gonna end up hurting, not even just hurting me, but hurting someone else? And how that energy does spread. So that's something I think to pay attention to there. Yeah, really, with the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Swords with the Page of Swords as the general. Be mindful of how your words land, but I also think too on a more kind of inspired queen type of path here. I think this Queen of Wands needs to explore something, some sort of dream. Allow herself to just be uncomfortable with the unknown, to kind of to play around in her imagination even, because I think something's wanting to take fruit here. Like, and this could be like, maybe I want to change the curtains, or maybe I want to get a new rug, or maybe there's whatever that might be. Maybe I want to think about a new job, or maybe I want to talk to Page of Wands here, because the Queen of Wands feeling good. She's feeling in charge. She's feeling, the fire has some form in the Queen of Wands, and I think that I feel like it's something that's like, when you're feeling the sort of surge of inspiration there, within, of course, within reason. I think that, of course, with that Ace of Swords, but if we're getting mixed messages of something, getting maybe some clarification, but yeah, there's a need to act on something here. Just be curious about something. Maybe not go like full on Queen of Wands, but just like, let's get a little bit more into that. Oh, interesting. All these lovely ladies. So you got the Queen of Cups here. And there's a question mark there. There's, I think, and I'm feeling too, maybe even more so. There's something here about someone's intentions, I think, with the Queen of Cups here. Because the Queen of Cups, she's receptive. She's a unique queen in that she really embodies water. And so water reflects and absorbs quite a bit. So I think that there is something here about paying attention to how you're being moved. I think about what ideas maybe are just even being put in your head, and this doesn't necessarily have to be something like bad. I think that if it doesn't feel like a good idea, like let's say your friends want to talk you into doing, maybe you want to, it could be something harmless like you go into like an amusement park and they're just like, hey, let's get on this roller coaster. You're just like, not that you think anything's gonna happen, but no, I'm not that curious. There's some things that's just like you don't have to question why you don't want to go on something, why you're feeling some type of way. It just like it is. So let that be. That's one thing that's coming up with her. Let me get the clarifier with her. Oh, how fascinating! So here's our card. Cancer got the Chariot, and the Queen is going in a direction, and I think that she's at this crossroads right now, and maybe there is this idea here, and it's like she's excited about the idea, but now it's getting to the place where maybe it can be real. So how do I really feel about it? I think that might be a question that's coming up there. Yeah, some strong, and maybe that's where I think there is maybe a lot of thinking that's going on, and I think that it's making sure to combine the feelings, to separate the two as well. Like, I am feeling excited about this. Have I made the necessary plans for this thing? Is this the right timing for this thing? Not thinking something to death, but I do think that there is a course change that's getting ready to happen here. And it's when majors are coming through, there's a spiritual component. There's something bigger that's going on in the mix here. So that's something that spirit just wants to come through there. Let's get another one on this. Oh. So you got the devil here. And you know what? I think partway with this devil is that it's not necessarily like like what you would expect from the devil to be like there's a toxic thing coming in the mix. I think it's more so the enduring part of the devil, that when you're working through, let's say, an addiction or a toxic situation, there's a level of discipline and responsibility. Saturn ruled Capricorn, the devil. And I think that it does require a lot of perseverance, a lot of mental discipline, fortitude, and I think that if you're going to want, maybe there's a certain vision of yourself that you're wanting to see come to fruition, or just like a certain idea that you want to have done. I think there are things that are going to have to be dealt with in order to make them come to. So like if you're going to what's an example? If you're going to the example, it'll come, but there's some work that's I think that's just needing to be done here. Like if you want something to accomplish, there's like you can't have like both ways for something, like, or it's like two things trying to, like a past you and a current you, like in a newer idea of you is trying to take the driver's seat here, and that's not gonna fly. Like it's let me get a clarifier with this. Like if you're going to, I guess a simple one would be, if you're going to decide to work on, let's say, sobriety, then what level does that look like? Are we going to completely go cold turkey? Are you going to, maybe instead of, if you were drinking every day, maybe we're going down to maybe once a week, maybe every other day? Like what is that, like what are you willing to put in? Because what you put in is what you get back with the devil. And there's something there. Let me get the clarifier there, because I'm getting a little bit more. There is something there about what you put in is what you get out with the devil. But something there is like something is not keeping you in a situation either, I think. Like it's like if you want something to change. Let me get the clarify with this stuff. Yeah, interesting. So you got the lovers here. And I think there's something about you have more of a choice than maybe you think about a situation possibly here. I think maybe feeling bound by maybe an environment, a relationship, or something. And at the end of the day, where there are always consequences to choices. That you really do whatever you want. Like if if you don't like a job, I'm not saying like you don't leave a job, not setting up something else, but you don't have to wait that. You could just quit. You got to put in 2 weeks. Like you could do, but of course, then you got to deal with what that means. So I think that there is a way, like maybe even be responsible with the choices. Maybe there was a reactive sort of approach to things, but now it's like that's not gonna like. I mean, it can fly, but it's just like the lessons are just going to keep repeating themselves until we make a type of choice here. Is what I'm feeling with this. Let's get some advice from Mars. So you got the Eight of Wands here. And I'm getting an energy of slowing down. Is the ideas maybe has the ideas that the Queen of Wands been getting, has it really been something that it's just like, is this been a constructive way of moving thus far? Is one thing that this Eight of Wands is giving. I also think that there can be motion from what this picture is trying to paint. If you're trying to have an idea of like wanting to move something in a direction, that all it takes is the choice and committing to the choice. With the devil here, to this lovers to the devil. If there's this back and forth energy, like a strong start and then like pull back, it's just going to keep where that energy's not going to always be there. And then there are these longer periods of like lull periods or something like that. let's get clarified for this. Oh, here's Mars and Scorpio here. Got the Five of Cups. And let's go ahead and let's switch over. If there's been certain decisions that have been maybe wanting something to move faster, but then it just keeps leading to the same old thing. I think there's a question here of how many times, because it's a lord of disappointment, and it's like how many times, if this is something that resonates, that if it's you that's making the same decision and then expecting a different outcome, or it might even be with all these people here, it might be someone else. And how long do you? It's not that you're disappointed maybe in them, but I think it's how long are you going to let yourself be disappointed in them. I think that at some point it's not, and I know that may sound a little cold, but I think that it comes from sometimes you got to give people space. You know what? If you're just gonna, I can keep giving you advice because maybe that Page of Swords has been giving advice. This person's been going down a certain path, and you keep telling, and it sounds brand new every time. With this Page of Swords, how long you gonna let that keep being brand new before that becomes an issue? Like that Eight of Wands, the message is not being received, so now it's time to go a different way. And this might be where this devil, if there is any kind of toxicity there, that's where it would be, is in, because at some point you don't have to keep putting up that they're not your obligation. Like you can't heal for someone, no matter what that's looking like. And all that's going to end up doing is slow you down with that 8 of Wands. And that's doing you and them a disservice, because if you're slowing down, you ain't helping anybody either. So just some things to think about there. That was an interesting one. But if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. Share this thing if you know somebody who would resonate with this. Oh, we're going to get the, oh, there it is. And then what else? Subscribe there, Queen of Cups. You Chariot. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And I'm going to shuffle for your surprise card or cards here. But if you want to know what's going on with the other planets, see the Celestial News Weekly. Down in the description box, there is a link for my other channel, Alchemist 8, where I do weekly videos talking about just that, how to work with those transits that are going on, that celestial chit chat. And then there are also these videos that I've been doing, this kind of series of different planets and different signs and different houses. And if you have one that I haven't gone over that you want to see done, or if you have one that you want to go more in depth with, leave a comment. Let me know. Like I definitely will accommodate for that. So there's that for you. But let's get into your surprise card here. Interesting. So you got the partnership card here. Now, if this is, you got the Lovers, and I think that if there is some sort of relationship thing that's going on, it doesn't have to be romantic, but I think that there is something about looking at your partnerships, because that Queen of Wands feels like she's being just kind of pulled, just sort of to and fro, just kind of going along with an idea, like maybe there's this promise of change or something, but it's just been just like air. It's just been Page of Swords, just been kind of blowing hot air, but nothing's been really concrete yet. And so it's just like I think that there's a need to reevaluate something there. I do think that there's too this reviewing a contract between you and Spirit. Is Are things, how's that partnership looking? Have you been feeling in connection with your true calling there? Has something been pulling you off track? I think that's another thing coming through there. Because maybe you might be disappointed with that 8 of Wands to the 5 of Cups here about the progress of, or lack thereof, of maybe how life's been going. And there could be a reason, this devil, that, or this Lovers, this choices, that yeah, that have been getting in the way of the progress. So look at your relationship with your words too, is a message that I got. Ace of Swords, Page of Swords, absolutely. Absolute devil. So that's just something to think about there, but and that's all I got for you. So until next time, keep raising that vibration through the roof and keep eyes on that moon. She's got great insights. And I will catch you on the next one. Jupiter Day.